if your gear selector on your GMC, Cadillac, Yukon, Denali does not light up, or it's very dim when it lights up, so you can kind of barely just see it. As you'll see in this picture here, mine was super dim. You know, the truck only had, my Cadillac EXT only had 170,000 clicks, but it started doing this. Right, so I will show you what worked for me, which involves a little bit of soldering. You got to take out your instrument cluster. It's going to take you maybe an hour's worth of your time, so not terrible. It did fix the problem for me, and I suspect it'll fix your problem if you're, again, having a dimming issue. So what you're going to want to do, first of all, is put the keys in your truck, turn it to neutral or maybe to 1, so that when you stick your hand up here in the left-hand corner to take off the surround, you just got to work your way around. It does pop off. There's no bolts or anything holding it on. It'll clear your gear selector. So stick your hand up there, start pulling on it. It'll start to pop off. Run it all the way around the perimeter to get your, I guess, cover off. There are, I seem to recall, 2 bolts on each side. That's what this picture is trying to show. It's not a great picture. I apologize. There is a clip in the back. Your instrument cluster is plugged in by one giant plug, so unplug that. Once you get it out of your truck, you're going to be looking at this plastic display cover it has over it. You're going to want to work your way around to unclip it. There's no screws or anything. It's just clipped on, and it's going to pull straight off the front of it. Like if you face it down like this, it's going to pull upwards, and that gets that plastic cover off. Because what you need to do is remove those little needles. The needles come off. Make sure you wear gloves for this because you don't get fingerprints on it. You're going to want to pull them up, straight up, and off of that face. And when you put them back on, you just literally push them back down the same way you took them off. So they pop up. And don't pull on the little white part, pull on the base, pull on the black base so you don't bend or break that white part. Once they're all off, that little black background will pull up. This is what the back of it looks like. There's nothing there for you to solder. I quickly discovered that. The front, after you take off your little needles and pull off the face, looks like that. And what you're looking for is a cluster of 511 chips. In this picture I showed you on mine, they're at the 11 o'clock position. There's a bunch of them up there, and I did a really poor job of soldering them, but they did the trick for me, right? It brought back my LED display or liquid crystal display. So again, take your time, solder each one probably. I just kind of used a magnifying glass to see which ones looked like they were weak and poor, and again, did a terrible job of soldering it, but it worked for me. So you know, you can test it out. I suggest you test it like I did here by plugging it back into your car before you put everything back on to make sure that fixed it. And then just reverse the process. Put your face back on, put your needles back on, put the cover back on, put it back into your car, plug it in through that electrical plug in the back, put your bolts on, put your cover back on, and that's it. That's all there is to it.